Welcome back to Victory in the Word. I'm your host for the day, Sarah Schallenberger from H22 Ministries, where we're about the purpose of God, the plan of God, and the power of God for your life and for mine as well. Well, we're taping these segments at 2626 South Loop West, South Loop West, and that's Houston, Texas, at Kingdom Broadcasting Network. And you can get onto that kbntv.tv website and look at the whole lineup of Christian broadcasters. We have everybody from Dr. Deborah DeGar to Dr. Larry Cook to Ken and Mary Bostrom to Pauline Larson. We have a host of new broadcasters joining us this month: Harold and Marilyn Morton, Laura Allerson with Presenting the King, although she has Celebration Ministries here in Houston, Pam and Sue Ellen. We have Samuel Ramus with Smashing Pillars, Dr. Terry Smith with Love in Action, and The Revelation File with Wally Wood. And so you can get onto that website and support the network and also support your favorite broadcaster. And we thank you for doing that. Well, here at Victory in the Word, today is a special day because we have guests in the studio from the Houston area. They are people that the Lord has pulled from all parts of the United States, and powerful women of God that are really moving and shaking and being used to reach this generation and to speak God's purpose and His love and destiny into the hearts of those around them. And so with that being said, we want to welcome our very special guest, Ms Chantay Stearns. And so it's a pleasure to have you. And so you know, our paths crossed, and in Galveston, Texas, that's where I'm based, and at the orthodontist appointment.
I know, right?
At
of all places.
At the orthodontist appointment. And you know how fun those appointments are. And so as Ms Stearns was being a hostess and was making me feel comfortable with things stuck in my mouth, and we hit it off, and as we were leaving, her last words were, "You'll never see me again here. I'm starting my new business tomorrow." And I said, "Tomorrow?" And I said, "Well,
literally.
We need you." Yes, literally. It was literally. I was, I think, one of the last appointments.
Yes.
The timing of the Lord. And so Ms Stearns, you know, if God gives her something to do, she's going to get it done. She's got a wonderful mentor who's actually in the studio watching, Dr. Seneca Dunmore, and who has affectionately named her the executioner, because if there's something that needs to be done, she will get it done. She'll execute it with excellence and with joy. And so welcome and talk to us. So you know, our paths cross. You're starting this. You have a new business that you have just launched, and it's about a month old, really.
Going into it, yes, about a month old. So I have been in dental for about 10 plus years. I'm a RDA through orthodontics, so I'm an ortho assistant. That's how me and Sarah met.
That's how we met.
And it was just, last year was a time where the mindset, I had to start my own business. My daughter is going into 8th grade this year. She's in the audience today, Destiny. And I've been missing so much time with her, going to different recitals, school. As a single parent, I'm sure all the single moms that's out here watching, you understand where I'm coming from. So essentially, I have 5 years left with her school-wise, 8th grade and all 4 years of high school. So I'm like, something has to change here. So again, the mindset in 2019 coming into 2020, by all means, God, I know you're going to provide. I have to start my business. I have to be independently working for myself so I can have time freedom for me, because I'm getting older, not that much older, but I mean, I want to do things and not just do the rigmarole of get up, go to work, make sure she good, take her to school, come back home, eat maybe if I haven't eaten already, go to bed and do it all over again. That's boring, and I don't want to do that no more. So who knew that we were going to embark upon a pandemic? But I knew that He said this was the year for me to start and launch my business. So I did that. Initially, I was supposed to open in April, but everything started in March here in Houston. It started getting real serious in March. And so my birthday is March 25th, and that's actually when we did our first real lockdown. So I was upset about that because I thought my birthday was going to be horrible, but it really wasn't. And then, long story short, to come fast forward to today, because I work in the dental office, the dental board from what one of my managers told me, said that it would be okay for dentists at their discretion to start doing cleanings. So other people in the teeth whitening business, because that's what I have, it's called Miles of Smiles Teeth Whitening here in the Galleria area in Houston. So I said, okay, let's just go ahead and open the weekend of 4th of July. So July 3rd, I opened. I had a tremendous grand opening, and it's just all about having faith, trusting in God, because I know without him I am nothing, but with him I'm everything. And even from before I moved here to Houston, it made so much sense, the grand opening weekend of my business, why I've had all the ups and the downs, the good and the bad, because he definitely was preparing me for a time such as this. And so many people ask me, Chantay, you're not scared of what's going to happen? It's a pandemic. I never start a business during that time. That's where you're wrong.
Yeah.
This is the time now where God is showing his strongest hand in all of those who truly believe in him, not just say it out their mouth for a cliche or want to be saying something cool because the next person saying it. I know without a shadow of a doubt that his word is true, and whatever he tells you to do, that's what you need to do. And I am no stranger to starting any kind of business. I've done network marketing. I've quit my job to work with my cousin in a entrepreneurial business that he had. It did not pan out, but guess what? Because of the faith that my God has put on me and in me, and in those 2 months, I didn't work. I had no income coming in, but guess what? I didn't miss a beat.
Yeah.
Me and my daughter went out of town more than twice.
Yeah.
In those 2 months.
Yeah.
I didn't miss anything.
Yeah.
Why? Because I truly put my hope and my trust and faith in him. So to me, it was a no-brainer. No, I'm not scared of starting my business because we're thriving. I'm almost a month in, a month out. Like Miss Sarah said, even if I have nobody on the books, prime example, I don't have nobody on my books this week, but I know at my minimum for me, because I'm a new starting business, 5 clients every week. Last week, I didn't have nobody on my books. I have a client that I'm working with through my speaking business. As she and I were talking, I had people book. So you can't tell me what my God cannot and will not do.
Well, you know, and what you're saying is so good to be talking about right now. So you're talking about Philippians 4:19, and it says that our God is faithful, and he's the one that supplies our needs. And so as you grow in your faith and you're maturing and you understand that, yes, he uses a job here and he uses a business here to supply the need, he's the one that's the supplier.
Absolutely.
And so as you walk through your faith, and so he showed you this job, and he says, I'm going to supply for the job, just like I'm going to supply for you if you don't have a job for 2 months.
Correct.
You can keep that steady walk of faith.
Absolutely.
And, you know, and so then it becomes, the COVID becomes a non-issue. What happens then when the enemy comes in, it becomes a Romans 8:28 for all of us, for every person that knows the Lord. He works in those things and will turn them literally for your good.
Absolutely.
And, you know, it's so interesting listening to you. The Houston area was shut down around your birthday, and but then opened up around July. And so the timing of God, he takes this thing that's supposed to close down things. He's working behind the scenes. Ms. Chantay's working, you know, running like crazy to get the business up.
Yeah.
And then just when people are so sick of being home and the Houston area opens up, your business is there. Boom.
Absolutely.
And there's your open door. And he's taken the very thing and just turned it around for a blessing.
Absolutely.
And so, you know, how good is God? You know, talk to us a little bit. So your background, I know you probably grew up and had with a silver spoon in your mouth, right? And you have never had a trouble in your life, and everything's been great. And correct me if I'm wrong. But,
that sounds good, but you know.
Yeah. Tell me, where'd you come from? How did you get to where you?
I'm from South Side of Chicago. Yes, I am. Chirac for those who think otherwise.
Yeah.
So my dad, my family at that time, I think we were your typical, my parents are still married to this day. So my mom was a stay-at-home wife. My dad worked for Chicago Public Housing Authority. So he was like a paint waller, drywaller by trade. So him and my uncle, they did a lot of things together. And from my perspective as a kid, I thought we was rich, just like my daughter think we rich, which we are, rich in all the things that God has for us right now in this time. But, even when things were low, we never knew because of the faith and how my parents raised us to be, because my dad was the bishop at the church I grew up in. So I had a lot of responsibility in the church growing up, even younger than my daughter now, and she's 13. So it was really like a no-brainer for me. But sometimes, we kind of veer off as we get older and we want to do things the way we want to do it. But God has a funny way of reminding you, I need you to bring it back a couple steps, because when you do things in your own self, it never works. But when you have God on your side, all things come together and they work for your good and the good of others. So, I had a great background growing up. I really didn't want for anything. We was your typical family on our block. Me and my brother were the only friends on our block that parents were married. So I grew up with a majority of all my friends had single parent households growing up. So when my dad's Lincoln Town car hit that corner at 5 o'clock, everybody knew it was time to go home, go do whatever you did in your prospective households. But in our household, we had to come in, wash our hands. My mama greeted my daddy at the door with a, "Hey babe, how you doing?" Kiss on the cheek, just like they do on movies. That was my life for real. And we sat down at the table as a family. We talked about how our day was at school, what my mom accomplished at home, because being a single mother, not even being a stay-at-home wife, some people despise that, but that's a great job in itself, because my mother was there for me and my brother with everything. My brother was a head basketball player. I was the cheerleader. Like, we was that family. So my mom didn't miss a beat. And because I grew up like that, all these years I've inspired to want to have my own business so that I can give all of that attention like my mom did for me and my brother to my daughter. Now I do, but as single mothers, again, I know you guys can understand me when I say it's only so much we can do when we by ourselves. And then we already sacrifice a lot of our time because we want our children to know and make sure that we are there for them and that we're not missing a beat with them. But long story short, I came here because I was doing door-to-door sales. And again, I told you I'm not scared to make $1 if it makes sense. So being...
That's good. Say that again.
I am not scared to make $1 if it makes sense.
If it makes sense.
Sales is like the best career path anyone could have. Do you have to have a knack for it? Some people say yes, some people say no, but when it comes to natural to you, like myself, it's a no-brainer. So when we were here in Houston with the company that I worked with in 2005, I had one more product left in my bag. Nobody was answering the door. I got this man to come to the door. It wasn't even his house, y'all. He was house sitting for a friend. He told me no 8 times. And that's why I think it's so funny that I never told my mentor this story. She's listening to it right now, but that's why she called me the executioner. It's just so much. I get things that I was not leaving that house until he said yes. And on that 9th time, that 9th rebuttal, he said, "You know what? I'm going to buy everything you got because you did not take no for an answer." I had a job. He said, "If you ever move to Houston, Texas, you already have a job. Look me up." 9 months later, Destiny is born, and I said, you know what, I don't want to live in Chicago, because at that time in 2006 our projects were still up, and my mother told me if I ever got pregnant before being married, although I was grown, I was 23, that I was going to have to live in the projects. Now I'm from the hood and not the projects. That's two different things. Two different beasts of people, and I know that I'm not cut for that type of lifestyle living. So I contacted this young man and let him know, like, hey, I'm moving to Houston. And when I got here, I had the job, but I lived on the southwest side with my dad's family, who I didn't know. So it's pretty much like living with strangers. But when you on a mission And me, when I know I need to get stuff done, I just go with the flow. And even if it isn't a conducive environment, long as it's not harmful, sometimes you just got to do what you got to do and get through it so that you can come out on the other side. And that's what I did. I love my family, but, you know, we grew up differently. So, again, when things are not working the way you need it to work for you, that's when you just got to persevere a little harder, a little stronger, do what you need to do to get yourself in a better position. And that's what I did when I moved here.
Well, you know, and going back to what you said, I would agree, you know, sales is a great training ground, and you don't have to have that be your career necessarily, but that's where character can be built, because you learn to take rejection and have it wash off of you, rub off of you, and then say you're not going to take a no for an answer. And that's a very godly character trait. You know, nothing gets done without perseverance, and you have to be able to just go through people's obstacles, whether they're the no or the no, we don't have time for you, or the whatever the phrases they're throwing at you, and just keep going, because a closed door means there's a window somewhere else. And you know, it takes faith, takes character really to do it. It takes walking it out. And so we've got people watching us, single moms, women maybe that are stay-at-homes like your mom and my mom was, and have raised their kids, and they've got this desire to do a business, or a need, like a single mom, they need to do a business, and they've got the idea. They maybe haven't told anybody about it yet. So here's your contact. Ms. Chantay, first of all, I want you to tell people how they can contact you, and then I want you to talk to them about what's the first step. They're the women that have the ideas. What do they do first?
Okay, so you can contact me via email at cmichellespeak.com.
It's cmichelle,
at gmail.com. Sorry, cmichellespeak at gmail.com.
At gmail.com.
So for me, first of all, you have to know that you can do it, even when the odds are against you. Coming from the south side of Chicago, many people all over the world think that people from Chicago really don't amount to nothing. All we do is cuss, fuss, fight, sell drugs, and do all this other kind of stuff. But it is so much more, even to those low-income families, because not all low-income families do that. Some people they are only conformed to what they know, because what they don't know, they don't know. And if they don't have someone to help lead them in the right path, and thankfully I had parents that were in the church, in the word. Like I said, my daddy was a bishop, so you know, my upbringing was a little different, and again, I'm thankful for that. But had I not had that, because of the woman I am, I know that I would not be the statistic that most people think that we are. So once you get in your mind that you want to start a business, what are you good at?
What are you good at?
A lot of people, we want to focus on what we're weak at. My mentor told me to start reading this book called The Strength Finder by Tom Rath. If you have not read that book, I suggest that you get that book. And in that book, he teaches us that, again, like I just said, we always focus on what we're weak at, but where we thrive at is where we're strong at. Where do I strive at? I like to talk to people. So it was a no-brainer for me to start becoming a motivational speaker. I've always wanted to do that, but I did not have the right resources. Or if I did, trust your gut. I didn't trust the people that were coming before me, because they were just in it for the dollar. Of course, any and everything we do, we want to be able to live off of that. But it is my suggestion, if you are really not for the people, for the purpose or the cause that you're doing, if you're just doing it for $1, it's going to dwindle down and it's going to come to a cease. But when you do it and it's heartfelt and people can feel and hear your excitement, your enthusiasm, your yearning to want to help somebody go to the next level and the next step in life, then that's who works with you. Because as she told me, my mentor, people only work with you with people that they know, like, and trust. And if you don't know me, within the first couple of minutes of talking to me, you're going to like me and you're going to trust me, because that's what I do. That is a gift that God has given me. I like to talk. I engage people immediately. Soon as we start talking, I grab you in, because I genuinely, that's what I do. That's who I am. So that's a strength of mine. So, of course, then you say, what should I do? Speak. And then that's how me and my mentored are now starting to have a personal work relationship and a regular personal relationship as well. Because again, a closed mouth don't get fed. If you don't start to tell people who you are and what you want to do, you will never get the resources, and or you won't allow God to send the people in your pathway that you need to take you to your next level and where you're going.
Yeah, that's well said. And we all have had the bad experience if you didn't listen to your gut. The negative side is you spilled your dream out to somebody that wasn't the right person.
Correct.
And then there goes the naysaying.
Right.
And none of us need that. And so, that's the thoughts in our own thinking that we have to get out ourselves. So we certainly don't need it from others. But like Ms. Chantay is saying, you've got somebody prepared for you. There's a path prepared for you. And when you listen in your gut and let the Lord connect you to those people and let him show you, look, he's speaking into you, saying, this is who I made you. You connect with people like this. It's your gift. You can pull in, no strangers. You can connect the crowd. You can speak and pull them in and listen to the message you have for them on site. You don't have to spend 15, 20 minutes, working up a relationship with the audience.
Correct.
And, and so then he had somebody that you talked about. I love the way you said you had known your mentor for years, but you knew of her, but you didn't know her, but at the right time,
Absolutely.
as you're prepared and mature, and she's ready and had all the experience she needs, the Lord beautifully puts you together.
Absolutely.
And that's timing of the
Is
Lord.
Everything.
Timing is everything. Yeah, if you're in a season right now, so there's probably a couple of different types of people watching right now. One is you're already maybe working, your destiny, maybe it's a business, so you've already started to move in your business, but you want to network with other women, like-minded, faith-filled women, and so you're the one that's going to want to connect with Ms. Chantay, and you'll be able to network together, or be an encouragement. Then there's some of you that just, you've just started to think about the business that you thought about maybe 20 years ago, but with COVID, now it's becoming maybe more real. And so you're going to need somebody to talk to that can hear your heart and can encourage you where you're at and tell you can do it.
Because you can.
Because you can. God put it in you.
You can.
He's going to pull it out
Absolutely.
of you. He's going to bring it to pass.
And I'm going to help you pull it out. I have a client right now who came through me via my mentor. Again, you see how all this stuff works. God just puts the right people at the right place at the right time. We've said this, 4 or 5 times now?
4 or 5 times.
In this 30 minutes of us talking less than. So I'm now helping her go to her next steps, her next level in her business. And I'm able to do that because I have a coach. And the most important thing too, one of my other friends, Keisha, told me, if your coach don't have a coach, then that's not the right coach, because we are never at the I made it moment. And even if you thought or think you've made it, it's still more things to progress, more steps that you can take to better yourself in whatever areas that you're doing. So sis, whatever you sitting on, the book, the journal, the movie, play route, it does not matter. And all the naysayers, as what Miss Sarah was talking about a little earlier, those people are going to come. I can tell you right now firsthand, a good handful of the people who I thought was A1 day one with me are not here anymore. And I'm okay with that. I have not just dropped them to the wayside, but as God starts doing the work with you and in you, and you accept that calling, you just got to keep going, because with all the people that has dropped off, he has added more people that need to be in my life right now, that's feeding me what I need to hear to move forward. Because if you are the best in the top 5 of the people that you hanging around, you got to find a new crowd, because you're not learning anything. And then that gets draining because everybody trying to pull off of you. And so my prayer was, God, remove everyone that does not need to be on my path, but bring all of those that need to help me where I need to go and further. And then that just starts a ripple effect, because I then can help those behind me just like those in front of me are helping me. Y'all get that?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And there's your place of balance. There's your place of humility. There's your place of effectiveness. You've got people ahead of you protecting you, guiding you, counseling you. And then you're using what you have and you're pulling the people behind you.
Absolutely.
And so you're nice and balanced. You're not top heavy and you're not bottom heavy. You're
Correct.
not being drained from the bottom, and you're not just being poured into and not giving out. And
Correct.
so there's your healthy lifestyle. And God has one for you, and you might be going through a season where He's already started to remove some people, but the new people maybe haven't quite moved in yet. And so you needed to hear this message today to know they're around, and He's going to connect them. It might be as simple as going to your orthodontist appointment. Sometimes it's not the big things. It's going through, going to the grocery store. It's just doing the next thing ahead of you, and God has a way of putting His divine appointments in front of you. It could be just as simple as going to the gym. And so, I've got my trainer here in the audience, and it's just doing, God connection after God connection after God connection. And so, He's a good God. He's a Father. And we don't know everybody on the planet, but He does. And He'll connect you at the right time. And He loves you very much. If you don't have a relationship with Him, we would invite you to just talk to Him from where you're at your home. You don't have to use fancy words. He understands your heart, and so He's really listening to your heart. But you can use your mouth today and say, God, I want to know you. I want to know who you are. I want to know what you designed me for. Or maybe, God, I already know you, but I want to know the purpose you have for me in this season. Lord, I need something new. I feel like I'm not walking in everything that you have for me. And so call on Him, and He promises. If you need forgiveness, He'll come in as your Savior, and you can call on Him and make Him Lord of your life today. His name is Jesus. He loves you. He knows you. He designed you, and He wants to put His Holy Spirit on the inside of you so that you can talk directly to Him and be led from the inside and have a power that the world doesn't have, but it's available for you to get the call of God done on your life. And so cry out to Him today and just say, Jesus, I need you. Come in and become a Lord of my life. And He'll answer that, and He'll come and He'll live inside of you, and He'll start turning and talking to you. And the thing He talks about to you the most is He loves you, and He has great purpose for you. If you've just received Him as your Savior, or you're just starting out down the road of a business and you need encouragement, feel free to contact us at the information at the bottom of the screen. Sarah Schallenberger Facebook. You can Chantay Stearns Facebook, or go Miles of Smiles if you need your teeth whitened and you need a smile as bright as Chantay's. You go check out her business in the Galleria area. They've got bookings available. And then also as you need a motivational speaker, Chantay would be excellent at your church, at your youth group, at your community event, someplace where people just need to be encouraged that God loves them and has great purpose for them. And so until next time, we thank you for joining us. And, there's always a good word. It's always victory for you. It's always overcoming for you. It comes from the Word. That's the good news. That's for you. And so we thank you for joining us today. And we'll see you next time on the next segment of Victory. Victory that's in the Word. God bless.